A major redesign of Madison Metro routes to include rapid transit lines is being criticized by the challenger in the upcoming mayoral race.
Gloria Reyes says the plan developed under Mayor Satya Rhodes-Conway needs more work, even though construction is already underway. NBC 15's Cameron Kelly has more.
Gloria Reyes says Madison's Title VI report concerns her the most. Title VI states the City of Madison and Metro Transit will assure no person is discriminated against under any program or activity. The last time Madison completed a Title VI report was in 2019.
Madison has unique conditions that make taking plans from another city and expecting them to work here impossible.
I don't know why some folks are so focused on it, but what I can say is that our community has been talking about rapid transit for over 30 years.
Madison mayoral candidates speak on the redesign of Madison Metro routes. Gloria Reyes argues the latest data on residents impacted by these changes is 4 years old. She worries about equal bus accessibility after speaking with members of the community.
These are real life concerns of people, and so of having to walk a mile away or a couple blocks away, and it's really impacting our most vulnerable populations.
Opponent incumbent Mayor Satya Rhodes-Conway says everyone benefits from this system, and some to a higher degree.
Our Latinx community will have 120% increased access. Our Black community will have, I think, 92% increased access, and low-income neighborhoods will have over 90% increased access.
Both candidates say the bus rapid transit is something they are both passionate about.
Bottom line, I am not against the BRT. I'm against not having a well thought out plan. And as mayor, there would not be silence around this issue.
You know, I'm actually really proud of the way that we did this project and the process that we went through. There was a tremendous amount of community engagement on the front end around the goals of the project, but then also around the routing.
In January, the city broke grounds for the project. The spring election takes place on April 4th. In studio, Cameron Kelly, NBC 15 News.